Hi, my name is Alicia Walker. I'm the Assistant Director for Career Planning in the Office of Career Services. I want to welcome you to USF. So I'm here to talk today about the My Plan, My Pathways program, which may sound a little familiar to you, and it should. Just as a reminder, this is the program that you participated in online prior to your freshman orientation. So the program required you to answer a couple questions about yourself and gave you your personality type and your interest types. And we'll talk a little bit about what that all means today. So the My Plan, My Pathways program also asked you to give yourself a confidence rating about your major choice. Some of you may have rated very high, some of you not so much, and that's perfectly okay. That's what we're here to help you with today. You also got some next step messaging in the My Plan, My Pathways program to tell you what you should be doing next with the information that you gathered from your assessment results. So what is My Plan? Basically, My Plan is a web-based career planning tool that will help you to start planning for your future. It can help you to kind of assess what majors out there might be a good fit, or to solidify the major choice you've already made, and helps you to start exploring some career options for your future. So the My Plan assessments that are part of this program are personality, interests, skills, and values. Today we're going to focus mainly on personality and interests. So the purpose of My Plan is to help people learn more about themselves in relation to the world of work. It also helps you to generate a list of possible occupations for the future that you can explore based on your assessment results. And it also helps to provide more information about these occupations so you can start to learn a little bit more about what you might want to do in the future. So let's start with the personality assessment. The personality assessment helps you to discover your unique personal characteristics, your work preferences, and your decision-making style. So we'll talk about the 4 scales that show your preferences in varying degrees. So here are your 4 scales. We have extroversion versus introversion, sensing versus intuitive, thinking versus feeling, and perceiving versus judging. For each 4 of these areas, you will fall somewhere on this scale, and you have been given a code for your personality type. Here's mine. I'm an ISTJ, which means I'm an introvert, sensor, thinker, judger. You may be the complete opposite from me, but we'll talk about what each of these areas means. So extrovert versus introvert. This area of your personality helps you to learn a little bit more about how you gain energy. Extroverts gain energy by being around other people. Introverts gain energy by being with themselves. You can see some descriptive words if you pull up your My Plan assessment results and you click on your personality assessment. Here you can see that I'm 87% introverted and 13% extroverted. You should always keep in mind that you have both of these attributes, you just have more of one than the other. So some descriptive words for an introvert are shy, quiet, thoughtful, interesting, bookish, if you will. You can find some descriptive words if you're an extrovert under this section in your assessment results. So some things you should know about an introvert. They think things through inside their heads instead of speaking out loud. They avoid being the center of attention, and they keep their enthusiasm to themselves. On the opposite, an extrovert, they like to act, then think. They tend to think out loud. They communicate with a lot of enthusiasm, and they do like to be the center of attention. So you can see how they're kind of opposites there. Pull up your assessment results and figure out which one of these categories that you fall into. Next, let's talk about sensing versus intuitive. As you can see from my results on the screen, I'm a sensor by 67%. But I also have 33% intuitive. As a sensor, you can see some of my descriptive words are realistic, practical, and careful. You should know that this section is basically how you gather information. Sensors gather information using their 5 senses. They take in information with what they can see, touch, smell, hear, and taste. Takes you way back to kindergarten, doesn't it? Intuitives are the opposite. They like to read between the lines. So they will take in the information from their surroundings, but they'll also think a little bit more about what that information means. So a little bit more about intuitive people. They trust inspiration and inference. They like new ideas and concepts, and they like to learn new skills. The opposite, the sensor, which is me. They like to trust what is concrete, again, relying on those 5 senses. They like new ideas only if they have a practical application. And they like to use and hone established skills. So they don't generally like to learn new skills. Make sure that you're looking at your assessment results to see where you lie on the scale between sensing and intuitive. Next, we have thinking versus feeling. My results show that I'm a thinker by 73%. And I have 27% feeling. This is how you make your decisions. Some descriptive words for a thinker. They're analytical, logical, rational, fair, thoughtful, critical. You can find your descriptive words for a feeler in your assessment results. Thinkers like to apply impersonal analysis when they're making a decision. They value logic, justice, and fairness. And they may seem a little bit cold and insensitive when it comes to their decision making. On the opposite, feelers, they consider the effect of their actions on others. They value empathy and harmony, and they naturally like to please others and show appreciation very easily. So that's the difference between a thinker and a feeler. A lot of people have a good balance between these two, which would be awesome. If you're a thinker, take into account what feelers use to make their decisions and see if you can incorporate that into your decision-making process as well. And the same goes for feelers. Think about what thinkers do when they make their decisions and incorporate some of that into your process. Last but not least, judging versus perceiving. So I'm a 60% judger, and this does not mean that you judge people if you're a judger like myself. But I have 40% perceiving in my last component here. So judges are very decisive and organized. They're strict and in control. This is how they like to structure their everyday lives. The opposite would be the perceiver. They're a lot more laid back. They don't like schedules or rules or regulations. They like to do things their own way. Which one are you? Judgers are happiest after decisions have been made. They have a work ethic of work first and play later. They set goals and work towards achieving them in a timely fashion, and they prefer knowing what they're getting into. They don't like surprises. Perceivers, total opposite. They're happiest when they're leaving their options open. They have a play ethic of play first and then work. And then they also like to change their goals as new information is gathered. So they'll tweak their plans as things go along. They love surprises. That's your last facet of your personality type. Remember, judging versus perceiving is how you like to schedule your day-to-day life. Think about what your personality type is. And if you want some more information, you can visit truity.com to learn more about your distinct personality type. Keep in mind that your personality type can change over time. So even if you're an ISFJ today or an ESTJ, you can always change as you come upon different circumstances in your life, including your academics and your work experience. Okay, now that we have completed our personality assessment, let's talk about our interest assessment. You should know that all of these assessments are based on psychological theory that has been used for a few decades, so they're pretty reliable. The interest assessment is based on Holland's theory, and I won't bore you with the details of the theory, but it does take into account your work activities, your hobbies, your academic subjects that you might enjoy, and it puts together some questions that'll help you to distinguish which of the 6 interest areas you should rely on more. So let's explore these 6 interest areas. We have the RIASEC model, which stands for realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional. You can pull up your assessment results in your My Plan assessments and pull up your interest assessment results. Here are mine. I'm investigative and realistic. Let's learn a little bit more about what these areas mean. Let's start with realistic. Realistic people have mechanical abilities and athletic abilities. They like working outdoors with tools and objects and prefer dealing with things rather than people. Investigative people have math and science abilities. They like working alone and solving complex problems. They like dealing with ideas rather than people or things. Artistic people have artistic capabilities and like creating original work. They like dealing with ideas rather than things. Social people have social skills. They're interested in social relationships and helping others solve problems. They like dealing with people rather than things. Enterprising people have leadership and speaking abilities. They like to be influential. They're interested in politics and economics, and they like to deal with people rather than things. Conventional people have clerical and math capabilities and prefer working indoors and organizing things. They like to deal with words and numbers rather than people or ideas. Which of these categories do you fall into? Your My Plan assessment results will tell you your top 2 interest areas. These will be the focus of your upcoming research into major and occupational opportunities. The tool that you see on your screen is called a World of Work map, and it has been keyed in to help you specifically hone in on your interest areas and major and occupational areas that are akin to those. You'll see that the RIASEC model surrounds the wheel in purple: realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional. Connected around the wheel, you'll also see some major areas. Connected to social, for instance, you'll see health and natural science major areas, as well as global and social science major areas. Inside the wheel in the green, you can see occupational areas. And in the very center compass, you'll see those things that we just discussed that people like to work with, whether it be data, things, ideas, or people. You can also include your assessment results in the key at the bottom of the page. And there's also a box with some tools that you can use online to help you with your major and occupational research. To find the scores for your career interest inventory, you can scroll to the bottom of the page of your assessment results and click on Next Page to take you to page 2. Page 2 of your results will give you a scored result for each section of the interests. So for your RIASEC score, there is a number score for each interest area. Fill in those numbers on your World of Work map. They'll be helpful for you and your instructor in the future. If you'd like to get a step ahead, you can also use the myplan.com website to start exploring some career options. The Career Match tab at the top of the screen will help you to start exploring some career options that are matched to your personality and your interests. Make sure that you adjust the education level in that section to reflect that of a bachelor's degree so you can explore what you will be doing after you graduate from USF. So what's next? You should reflect on your results and how your current major and career goals line up with the results of your interest and personality type. You should also talk to your academic foundations instructor about how to use your results in researching other possible majors and/or careers. And finally, you can always make an appointment to see a career consultant in the Office of Career Services to review your results together and begin making a career plan. If you have questions, please ask your academic foundations instructor, and you can also find Career Services in the Student Services building on the 2nd floor. Our contact information is below.